back to my channel. I'm Veronica with Nurturing Connections Homeschool, where I share encouragement, planners, and tips to help you connect with what matters most. Now, this particular video is part 2 of a video series where I am sharing how to get started with homeschooling for preschool and/or kindergarten. If you haven't had a chance to watch video 1, I want to highly encourage you to go do that first so that this will all make much more sense. In that particular video, I shared a couple of tips on homeschooling your child. If they are the oldest or if they're the youngest, we talked about the preschool and kindergarten bucket planner that is available in my shop if you want to go check it out. This particular planner is a system that I created to take you step by step through the process of identifying what is most important in your homeschool. There are so many curriculum choices out there, so many different resources out there, and I wanted to develop a system that would be easy for anyone to pick up if they were just getting started and be able to move through it in order to create the goals and objectives they want to establish and work toward in their homeschools. Now, the bucket planning system for preschool and kindergarten is more focused on beginning academics and developing a love for learning. In the first video, we talked about how Charlotte Mason said that children were born whole persons, and we want to make sure that we keep that in mind as we build the relations that they have with God, others, and the world around them. Here at Nurturing Connections Homeschool, that is the heart of why I do what I do. My heart is to help others connect with what matters most. And I know firsthand from my personal experiences as well, how challenging that can be when there are so many curriculum options out there. There's so many people telling you your child has to be able to do this, this, and that by the age of 5. And there's just so much pressure coming in from almost every single angle. And so I want to be able to come alongside you and say, take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to worry about all of that. You don't have to keep up with a system that you are not a part of. You can truly look at your child, pray to God for direction, and educate them in a way that is meaningful, joyful, and working toward who God created them to be. So in the last video, we looked at discipleship, beginning academics, social studies, and creative expression. And in this video, we're going to look at ideas for science, health and physical education, life skills. We're going to talk about some extra buckets or extra ideas you can implement in there. We're also going to look at beginning academics for kindergarten, planning sheets, and how you can do that along with memory pages. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and flip the camera in just a bit and get started. Science. I learn about God's creation. I spend time outdoors. I use all of my senses to discover the world around me. I learn about God's creation through books, field guides, field trips, and videos. I'm going to share more of these resources on my site, but this is one of our favorites here, the Big Book of Science and Nature, and it just takes them very simply through some key scientific ideas. I do simple science experiments. I know about the weather. The weather is so huge for children, just understanding hot and cold and how to dress for the weather. Or teaching them the parts of their body, making up songs for their different body parts, their shoulders, their knees, and toes, for example. I know where the sun rises and sets, showing them the skill of observation, of noticing. What do you see in this flower? What do you see in the grass? What animals and creatures are living there? And talking to our children about God's creation and just opening their eyes to it all. Health and physical education. I am healthy and active. I like to exercise and play, participate in outdoor games, play outside with water. Sometimes just filling up a few bowls with water is all it takes to engage our children in play, or putting out the sprinkler. I know how to skip, and so that might be something we teach our child, or hopping on both legs or on one leg. We can set up obstacle courses for our child and then let them create different obstacle courses as well. I can throw and catch, swing, ride on a tricycle or bike, can dance to music, and I get plenty of sleep each night and eat nutritious snacks and foods. And so talking to our children about how to take care of their bodies, how to keep their bodies healthy and strong, and how to make good food choices so that they can feel well. That is so important. I cannot stress that enough. So many of our children's behaviors can actually be impacted significantly by the foods that they eat. And so teaching our children how to choose foods wisely and eat to feel good is so very important. Life skills. I'm learning how to be independent. So what does that look like? I kind of filled up this page with different ideas, but once again, look through the list and think about which ones you want to keep. And if you have more to add, then by all means, use that blank sheet and add on some more here. But I included things like shaking hands or greeting others with a high five, whichever your family is most comfortable with. How to express their emotions and ideas. I feel sad because, and giving them the vocabulary to understand their emotions and be able to express them positively. Can follow directions. We have different habits here, like the habit of attention or self-control or organization. How to be a good steward, how to help with household chores, learning positions like right, left, top, and bottom, maybe taking care of a pet, using scissors, glue, and paste, brushing their teeth, getting dressed, knowing bathroom procedures, dressing for the weather, and then tying their shoes. So again, these are things you'll do each and every day, but being intentional in the areas that they lack can also help them grow, and in celebrating their successes. I think sometimes it's easy to overlook these little things and not pay attention to it all, but having something like this, I hope, will help you just start noticing those little milestones and celebrating with your child so that they can grow in that confidence that is needed for the later years. Now, I included the kindergarten bucket planner here as well for your preschool child who's ready to keep on learning, or for your child who is already in kindergarten. Now, if your child is in kindergarten and you just purchased this particular planner, then I want to encourage you to print out all of the preschool buckets as well. Okay, so you'll print out all of these and make sure that your child has already accomplished everything in the beginning academic section before continuing on with this. Now, in the kindergarten planner, I've only included reading, writing, and math. So these will be your key academic areas. But all of these other buckets are just as important for your kindergartner as they are for your preschooler. And so keep these at the forefront of your mind. If you've already gone through these with your 3-year-old or your 4-year-old, and now you have a 5 or 6-year-old, consider printing out a new page and listing new ideas and resources to inspire you. But I will say that the activity you use when your child is 3 takes on a whole new meaning when they're 5 and 6, and it's okay to repeat some of these activities with your children. They will very much enjoy it just as much. Now, the parts that you'll add for your kindergartners include these buckets. First, you have a beginning reading sheet here. I know the alphabet. So once they know the alphabet song, now it's time to teach them the specific letters. And so once again, we have listening to read alouds is important, and narrating and knowing their song, but now identifying all the capital letters, putting the alphabet in order, identifying the lowercase letters, and then matching the upper and lowercase letters. Once they've been able to do that, then they're ready to learn the letter sounds and how to decode new words. So now, not only do they know that this is a letter A, now they know that the most common sound that letter makes is A, B, K, D, and so forth. I can identify rhyming words, or I can identify words that begin with the same sound. So they can start identifying, the words that begin with B, like ball, and bear, and so forth. I can blend the onset and rhyme to read a word. So the onset is the beginning sound, and the rhyme is the next chunk or sound, the phoneme there. So k, at, cat, p, n, pen, d, og, dog. That's easier than the next step, which is decoding or blending together each individual sound or phoneme. K, at, cat, and so forth. I can read 25 sight words, and I can read and spell my name. So this is the beginning reading steps that would come after this. These are things that you may find easy to teach on your own. You may find it easy to find printables online or videos on teaching the letters and sounds, and so you'll dip in wherever you need to provide any additional support. For writing, I am learning how to write. I can write letters on a chalkboard, on a salt tray. I can trace letters on paper like we've shown previously. I can write the capital letters on paper in boxes and lowercase letters as well. And so what I mean by boxes is this. Let me get out my dry erase board again. When children are first learning to write, it really helps for them to learn how to write in a box itself versus lines. And so practicing that will be important, just to helping them just understand the general shape of the letter itself. I can write numbers 1 through 20. I can write short words. I can write my name. Now again, you can record your resources here. I do want to share that if you're looking for something that is all connected, then I really want to encourage you to check out my Level A curriculum titled Nurturing Connections in Reading. What we do in that curriculum is target all 3 of these areas. So they will learn their alphabet, the capital letters, the lowercase letters. They'll learn all the sounds they make. They'll learn how to blend onset and rhyme and how to read short words. And they'll practice writing those letters as well. So it's all integrated, it's all connected, it's all meant to reinforce one side or the other, and it just continues to reinforce that learning in a way that's simple and easy to do, and it literally takes about 10 to 15 minutes a day for them to advance through the curriculum. So something to consider. Otherwise, feel free to jot down the resources that best fit the needs of your family, and after that you will see math. And so again, for math, what are some key indicators that children need to learn to understand math concepts? They can identify shapes, and there's some examples there, the days of the week, the months of the year. Now, not only can they count to 10, but they can identify the numbers and count objects to 10. So now, very similar to reading, they know that this is a number 1, and it represents 1 item. They know that this is a number 2, and it represents 2 items, and so forth. I can put the numbers 1 through 10 in order. I can count backwards, going up to 20, and then it even has adding small numbers using concrete objects. So if you have 1, and I give you 2 more, how many do you have all together? 3, and so forth. This also includes skip counting. I really want to encourage you to start skip counting early with your children. Children can learn so much more easily in the younger years than later on in the older years. So teaching them songs that skip count, for example, the 2s or the 5s or the 10s even, will really help them later on with multiplication, division, and so forth. So look for songs online if you don't already have them. I will share some resources in that blog post that you can check out as well that we've used with our family that has been so helpful in the later years, because the kids already know those songs and they know how to skip count very, very easily. Now, once you've filled in all these buckets, it's time to start planning, and that's what these planning sheets are for. Now, there are a few different options here that I want to talk you through. The first option is a monthly plan or a term plan, or just a general checklist, if you will. And so you'll see here, each bucket has its own place on the page. I combined reading and language arts because they do tend to go together, but the rest have their own box. And what you'll do is you'll print this out. Let's say this is for the month of September. And then you'll take these 2 sheets and you'll go look through your buckets. And so you'll look under discipleship. What are some things that you want to target when it comes to discipleship? And you'll plug those in here. What are some things you're going to work on with reading and language arts, or math, or social studies? And once you've included all of these things, then you can use this as a checklist. And so it's something that goes on your wall or on a clipboard. And when you have time with your child, then you can draw from these buckets and use that time intentionally to grow them in each of these areas. This may also be something you do over the course of the week if you choose, just depending on what your schedule looks like. But this is a big picture checklist that you can use. Here's a blank version to include your specific buckets if you have different buckets than the ones I've included here. This is a 1-page document that has the same information. And so this could be something you use on a weekly basis. You could plug in a couple of things in each indicator here and then work through it throughout the week and cross it off as you go. Here's a blank form once again. This is a place to jot down your materials by week, so you can make sure that you have everything you need on hand. You have a blank form once again. And this is if you want to really plan everything for the week. If you have a preschooler that's your first child, you may have more time for this. If your preschooler is the younger one, then I feel like a checklist may be more conducive for you. But again, pick and choose what works for you. If you do the weekly schedule, then you may plug in each of your subjects here and what you'll do on what specific day. You could also choose to use the agenda here where you put specific times, and maybe from 10 to 10:20 you're going to do creative expression or science, and you just plug it in here as a means to keep track of each day. Now these planning sheets are meant to be used however you see fit. So make them work for you, or this is where you could use a separate planner if you've chosen to do that already. But I'm hoping that these formats will really help you stay organized, use your buckets effectively, and keep you on track in accomplishing your specific goals. Share with you a brief example of what it looks like to fill out my monthly plan. So here I have one of my buckets for social studies, and you'll see that I have a book here as one of my resources called What Do People Do All Day? This is a resource I've selected to teach about different occupations here. And so I can put a check mark here saying this is what I want to target this particular month. I have my book in place, and so you'll notice I have a flag here. And so basically all I do is as we read it, I'll put the flag wherever we leave off. And so we can just pick up and continue on each and every time. Now when I come here to my monthly plan under social studies, I'll put the book title. What do people do all day? And so then I have to ask myself, how often do I want to read that book throughout the month? Chances are I'll do it about once a week, so I'm going to go ahead and put 4 sticks right next to it. And so every time I sit down to read it with my daughter, I'm going to go ahead and mark that here until all 4 are completed and I can check off that box. I may also pull something else from the bucket and say, you know, this term I really want to focus on our phone numbers. And so once again, I'll put phone numbers here. And maybe just mom's this month, and then next month I will go over my husband's phone number. Now that may be enough for the month for social studies, but if I want to add anything in, then I'll just continue to plug this in, and this will be used as a checklist throughout the month. And so as I have time to complete each of these, then I'll be able to mark them, monitor my progress, and then be able to come back here at the end of the month to be able to show our progress as needed. Now after that, after your kindergarten indicators, I included some memory sheets. This is just something you can use year after year to just see where your child is. You know, who's their best friend, what's their favorite toy, what do they want to be when they grow up, what's their favorite book, and a place for their picture, or just some little ideas or drawings that they can include here. And then any memories you want to capture. Friend, these years are so very fleeting and they're so very special, and I just want to encourage you to capture as much of this as possible. Include multiple copies of this sheet throughout your planner as a reminder to jot down the date and some sweet little things that they say or do that you want to remember years and years from now. Now I hope this planner really helps you create those special memories and really lays that strong foundation for future learning in all areas, not just in 3. And thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you stopping by. Again, please drop any questions or comments below so I can get back to you. I love hearing from you and knowing how I can be more helpful to you in your homeschool journeys. Give me a thumbs up on your way out, and I'll see you here next time.